What is going on, everybody? Welcome to our weekly dev stream, special Super Dungeon Designer Demo Edition. So this week we have released our Steam Next Fest demo early. So Steam Next Fest is not until June 19th, but we had to get the demo out early so that the press has access to it. So the demo is live. You can go to the Steam page right now. There's a link down below to that, and you can download the demo. You can play the entire game. The demo is just the full game. You can download, play, build dungeons however you want. The full game's there, so go check it out. Today, though, the plan is to do a beginner-friendly run-through of the whole game. So we're going to go in. We're going to download some dungeons. We're going to play some dungeons. We're going to show off all the features. We're going to show off how co-op works. We're going to show off how all the items work. And we're going to showcase some really cool dungeons that have already been made by the community. So really excited to show off what's out there already. But there's so much more to come. And then we're going to jump into the actual builder. We're going to build some dungeons and show you all the awesome features that the game has. We're going to show you link mode. We're going to show you all the different ways that you can customize a dungeon. So buckle your seatbelts because it's about to get bumpy. Promise I'll never say that again. So first of all, I do want to mention, you might have noticed already, brand new splash screen and brand new title screen. So we have had placeholder title screen in the game for a very long time, and Matt designed this beautiful new title screen that we have here with the scrolling background and options. So starting to look a lot fancier. So to kick things off, when you jump into a demo, when you download the demo for yourself and you boot it up, you're going to be greeted with this screen. So this is the title screen. If you are just looking to download and play dungeons that other people have made, you can click on the Browse Dungeons button here. This is going to connect you with mod.io, which is the tool that we are using to upload, download, share dungeons. And you can see all these dungeons are here, ready for you to check out and play. You can see most of them say subscribed, and that's because I've already downloaded a lot of these dungeons. But if we uncheck some of these, this is what you're going to see when you jump in. You're going to see these black subscribe buttons. So all you need to do to download a dungeon is click the subscribe button. You'll see a little confirmation box down here that the dungeon has downloaded. And the filters aren't set up yet. The only ones that work are I think the sort by newest and popularity filters. But these ones don't work yet. Don't worry about those. We're going to be getting tags implemented so you can actually tag your dungeons. But for now, you can sort through these by just newest. And then down here in the bottom left, you have these arrows left and right. We can sort through all the different dungeons that we have available. These have all been populated by our fantastic, wonderful, supportive, and great community throughout all of our previous playtests. So these all came from playtests that we've been doing. We've been running playtests every couple of months, and people have been uploading these awesome dungeons. So I've got a handful of them already downloaded. That's really all you need to know for downloading dungeons. Just come in here, and you can download by hitting subscribe. To get out of here, just click the X up here. Now, if we want to play those dungeons, we go into the My Dungeons menu from the main menu here. And you'll see two tabs here. The first tab is any dungeons that you own. These are all your local dungeons. And if you've uploaded them, you'll see this little upload icon. But any dungeons you've created are here. I don't have a lot because most of my dungeons weren't made in the demo. I made them in the playtest and the actual build. And then if you click over here on the Downloaded Dungeons tab, you're going to see all those dungeons that you downloaded from online. And this is where you can click on them and hit play to check them out. You can also duplicate a dungeon if you want to edit it and kind of mess around with it yourself. Just know that if you duplicate someone else's dungeon, you can't upload it. So you can't steal their dungeon, unfortunately. Sorry. Trying to protect the creators. So it's that easy. So for example, this Tight Squeeze is a very quick one-screen level. So if I hit play, it's going to take me right in. And I can go ahead and play this dungeon. So when you're playing a dungeon, we do have full controller support. So if you hook up a controller to your computer, you can play with the controller. It will update the buttons up here in the corner. And as you pick up items, you're going to see them appear in your inventory. And you can use them with the controller buttons. When you have something you can interact with, you'll see a little bubble pop up that tells you how to interact. And to end a dungeon, you have to step on this end level tile. And it's that simple. At the moment, just a note for controllers, we only have support when you're playing. We don't have support in menus, but that is coming soon. We're going to have menu support before we go into early access. So, and all the buttons and everything are reconfigurable. We'll show that a little later. Or now. We'll show it now. So let's play a little bit of a more complex dungeon here. We'll pick one that's got a little more to it. Let's see. We can show... Jess with the frog emoji. Love it. It's just a frog world and we're living in it. I'm going to show a dungeon called The Buried Delves. Yeah, so many good choices. So if you're playing on keyboard and mouse, and this game will be coming to Nintendo Switch late next year is our current target. But if you're playing on Steam, if you're playing with keyboard and mouse, WASD to move your character. And then you'll see icons up here telling you left click and right click. And as we pick up more things, we'll be able to use them. You can switch between your inventories here by hitting tab. So once we have more items, that'll make sense. We'll talk about that. But if you need to rebind controls, just hit escape. That's going to bring up your menu. This is where you can kind of move things around in your inventory. If you go over to settings, you can go to controls. And then you can go to player one's controls here. If I want to remap my keyboard, I can remap the different keyboard buttons however I want. And same thing for the joystick. If I want to remap the joystick buttons, I can click here and do that as well. This UI is not final, by the way, for the controls menu, as well as the settings menu. But I'm happy with the controls right now, so we're going to check this out. We started this dungeon with a sword. So I'm going to head left first. And as I walk in this room, the door is triggered to close as soon as I step on this tile, and it's spawned in some enemies. And I'll show you after this how you can set that up. It's really cool. So this bat's going to chase me. Take him out with my sword. He drops the heart. And those bats are set up to trigger a treasure chest to appear. I got a key, so I can go through that door. But you know what? Before I do that, I want to explore this room over here to the right. And we're going to take out these slimes. We've got another treasure chest here, and we've got some bombs. Okay, cool. And at any time, if we want to check the map, we can hit escape to go to the menu. We've got a map here. Shows us the different rooms we've been into, and we have a legend that tells us different things about the map. There are a map item and a monocular, which will show you more information about your map. We don't have them in this level because this is an older level, but we'll show those off a little later too. Okay, so now that I have a key, I'm going to open up this door here. We've got some more enemies to take out. The archers can fire arrows at you. And you can actually use those arrows to trigger things, which is kind of neat. So you could have like a switch on the wall that maybe you want to trick the archer into shooting at. Or maybe if I don't have a sword yet and I want to open these skulls, I could have them shoot at it. You may have noticed, if you have a keen eye, you may have noticed a crack in the wall. I'm going to put a bomb down. You'll see we have created a doorway. It will take us into the room that has the checkpoint. So that's what this tile is. When I step on that, I activate a checkpoint. So now if I die, I'll respawn from that point. Okay, and we've got a dark room. So in a dark room, you can't see anything until you light the torches. Oh, we have a lantern here. So when you pick up the lantern, it increases your light radius so you can see a little more. But then also, I can use the lantern to light these torches. So you'll notice with the mouse and keyboard controller, I can hit tab, and that's going to move my items around. So I've got the lantern to use. And as I light each one, it's going to gradually increase the brightness in the room. So this is at 1 lantern lit. I'm going to light another one. Now we've got 2, 3, and then at 4 you're at max brightness. And you'll notice the door opened back up. So those 4 torches were linked to the door to open it. Now I'm going to destroy this table. Because tables were built to be destroyed. And I don't know, these bookshelves look suspicious. Yeah, there we go. We found a secret room. Some gold coins. Hey, GamerBoy89656, what's going on? The pop-up items are glitched. Yeah, there was a little, I noticed the coins were a little dark. So we'll look into that when you pick it up in a, looked like in a room with a lot of torches. Alright, so destroying all those bats made this, these spikes go down, so now I can get this key. Oh, Lincoln! Hey, Lincoln! How's it going? Thanks for swinging by. Hope you and the family are doing well. Alright, these spikes here on the ground are actually proximity spikes. If I walk over them, you'll see they pop up, so you've got to be quick. Alright, we're back in here. And we've got a puzzle room here. And, I just picked up some arrows. I don't have anything to fire them with, so I think I need to come back. Did you make this game? Yeah, me and my team. We've been working on it for about 5 years now. So we've got another dark room here. Okay, we got a bomb bag, which actually increases your max bombs by 5, and it fills them up for you. Thomas with the salute. Alright, so destroying those 2 statues spawned a chest, and we got the boss key. So the boss key is the only way to open a boss door. But you'll see up here we have 2 yellow keys, we have 1 boss key. So the yellow keys will open the yellow locks. The boss key is the only way to open the boss door. We'll show that later. Alright, so there's our bow. So we'll grab that. Get some arrows here. And, oh, you know what? I see some switches on the wall here. Can't reach them with my sword. So I'm going to fire some arrows. And that made these spikes go down. I've made a few games, but one of my best is my shooting game. Nice. Very cool. And then one of the nice perks of the arrows is that they can reflect off of these triangle blocks. So that activates the switch here. We can get out. And we've got some lizards to take care of. We're going to hit them into the pits because it's funny. And we're going to go back to that room from earlier, which was up 1. And now that we have arrows, we can hit this switch. Hey, Matt. Thanks for swinging by. We are playing your level. Alright, and we solved the puzzle. We got a gold bomb bag. So the gold bomb bag actually gives you infinite bombs. So we can now bomb to our heart's content. And there's the boss door that I told you about. But you know what? I know that there's a secret down here. So we got a quiver, which increases our max arrows by 5 and fills them up. So now we got plenty of arrows for the boss fight. But also this cracked wall down here takes us to a heart, which increases your max heart containers. So now we're at 7. I'm feeling good about the boss fight. So we open the boss door. What'd you use to make this? Unity. Program called Unity. We've got a dark room. A lot of cool features since I last stopped by. Loving the map integration. Hey, Blue Blade. Thanks for swinging by. Yeah, the map's looking really good. And this dungeon was actually made a while ago before we had boss fights in the game. So that's why for this boss fight, we've just got a bunch of enemies. But we actually have a boss in the game, and we'll show him off in a little bit here. We're going to take all these guys out, and I need to use some of my arrows. Oh, that's a lantern. That's not going to do anything. And if I want to switch it, I can go to my inventory here. I'm going to move these arrows over. So now my left and right click are the sword and the bow and arrow. One more. He's a rogue. He ran away. All right, we did it. We spawned in a bunch of gold. We're going to pick that up, open up these chests. Seeing Blue Blade reminded me. Blue Blade is one of our big creators from our playtests. He's got a bunch of, or they, sorry, have a bunch of levels uploaded. So if you go in the browse dungeons, you'll see some Blue Blade levels. They're pretty great. And we found the end level tile, so stepping on that ends the level. And you've got some stats here, playtime, so you can go for the world record, how much gold you collected. So that's kind of the basics of how you can go on, download other people's dungeons, and play them. But how do you make a dungeon? Well, if we go back to the main menu, if we click on Build New, you can either click there, or if you go into My Dungeons, there's a Create New Dungeons button. You can click on either one. It's going to take you into build mode. So this is where you build your own fun and crazy dungeons. I like to use this tile. We're going to be replacing this actually as the main default tile. So a few things to talk about here right off the bat. So to resize a room, all you have to do is click and hold on the arrows on the edges here. And you can make a room any size you want. If you right click and hold, you can move around. Arrow keys do the same thing. And then if you want to add more rooms, and the mouse wheel lets you zoom in and out. Lincoln says, can I play this somehow? Yes, you can. There is a link down below to our Steam page where you can download the demo right now. The demo is available, and it's the full game. You can check it out through the 26th. And you can upload dungeons and all that. You just need to have Steam. It's only on PC right now. And then if you want to add more rooms, you just click the plus here. And you can add more rooms to your dungeon. And at any time, if you want to play test your dungeon, just hit the play button up here. Also worth noting, everything in build mode has a tooltip. So if you hover over anything, you can find out what it does just by hovering your mouse. Very helpful. If I hit play, it's going to give me this warning just letting me know that any undo history is going to be lost when I hit play. I'm going to hit got it, and then I'm going to hit play again. And there we go. We didn't really build anything, right? But that's how you play test your dungeon. To get out, just hit escape or click the orange menu. Go back to build. And okay, we got a couple rooms. Let's make them a little more interesting. So the way that you build out a dungeon, the things on the left are all of the items, the enemies, the objects that you can add into a dungeon. The stuff on the right is all the stuff that builds the dungeon. So it's your floor tiles, it's your pits, it's your walls, and then any kind of decor you want to add to your dungeon. So stuff on the left is kind of stuff that you interact with or find in the dungeon. Stuff on the right makes your dungeon look nicer, builds your dungeon, gives you floor tiles, things like that. So let's say I want to give the player a sword. All I have to do is click on the sword. And now I'm placing swords. So I will click here. And now if I play test, you can see the player can walk over, pick up this sword, and now they've got it. Cool. So back to build. Let's say I want to put the sword in a treasure chest. I can come over here to this chest icon. These are all the objects in the game. These are things that you can generally interact with or use in some kind of unique and cool way. I'm going to click on the chest in this menu and place it up here. And then I'm going to go to the Move Objects button here. That just basically clears anything off of your cursor and lets you move stuff around. So now I can move this sword wherever I want. And I'm going to put that sword in the chest here. And you'll see the chest has a little sword icon. That means the sword's in there. I could also, if I hit undo here, let's say if I want to delete things, I can hit the trash can. If I want to delete the sword, I could come back to the menu, click on the sword, and when I place it down, I could just place it directly into the chest. I don't have to move it into it. So there we go. So now if I hit play, I've got a sword. I had to open the chest in order to get it. But you know what? I want a little bit of a challenge. We'll give the player just like a small puzzle maybe they need to solve before they can get the sword. So I'm going to put some of these pushable blocks in the way here. Actually, we'll move them up. So when you click on an item, any kind of object in the menus, and you see this little white arrow icon here, that means that that object has multiple different variants. So if I click on this block, I've actually got 3 different versions of it. And if you hover over with your mouse, you're going to see what each one does. So a normal block is just a block. It stops you from running into it. This one is a move once block. It means that block can only be pushed one time. And then this one lets you push it as many times as you want. So I've got 3 move once blocks here. Put down. And then I'm going to put a few blocks that you can't move right here. Like this. Okay, and now we have a small puzzle made. I'm going to hit play for playtest. And we have to push these in order to get to the chest. Now we've got our sword. Cool. Now, how do we get out of this room? We need to connect it with doors. So I'm going to go over to the Walls tab over here. And you can add a few different types of doors. There's an open door. There's a closed door. There's a locked door. And there's a boss door. There's also cracked walls, which can become doors if you bomb them open with a bomb. I'm going to put down a closed door right here. When you go to click it, when you put it on a wall, it's going to tell you you need to place a connecting door. So I need to place the next door that's going to connect to this one, which is already on my cursor. I'm going to place it right across from that door. And I can't do anything else until I do that. These 2 doors are now linked together. But I need a way to open it. So I'm going to put down this switch here. This is called an orb switch. I'm going to put it right here. And that can be triggered with the sword if I hit it with the sword. So now I'm going to switch modes. We're going to click this hammer and pencil icon down here. That's going to take me to link mode. I'm going to click on this magic wand. And then when I click on the orb switch and then click on the door, They're now linked together. So that now means when I trigger this orb switch, it's going to make the door change from closed to open. All it takes is 2 clicks. Come in here, click on the thing that you want to trigger, and then click on the thing that you want to be triggered. And you're good. So now if we hit play to play test this, when I move these blocks, grab this sword, and then hit this switch, we should see the door open. And there we go. And that's the basics of the linking system. It gets a lot more in depth. There's a lot of different items and combinations and cool stuff you can do with it. But at its simplest, you can use it to trigger events, make different puzzles. It's a lot of fun. It's really where the game stands out. It's one of the big highlights. Okay, so now we've got a sword. We've got a small puzzle to get into the next room. We need some enemies. We need some baddies to beat up. So let's put a couple enemies here. That we need to defeat. And, you know, I'm going to take it easy on the player. I want them to get some of their life back in case they get damaged by the enemies. So I'm going to click on one of these health hearts. It's a small heart. And you'll see it says it restores a player's health by 1. And I'm actually going to put this on the enemy. So that means when the enemy's defeated, it's going to drop these hearts. That way the player can restore their health a little bit. And then I'm going to put secret room down here. Actually, let's put it up here. So I created a new room. I'm going to put a door. But we're going to cover the door with a bookcase, which is under decor on the right side here. And I'm going to do the one that you can push, which is this one. So now that door is hidden. But what we're going to do, we're going to give the player a map so that they will be able to see that there's something back here. But we're not going to give them the map that easy. We're going to make it so they have to defeat all the enemies. So we already talked about how linking works, right? If I link from this bat to the map, that'll make it so that when the bat is defeated, the map appears. Which is cool, but it's not what we want to do. We want to make it so that when all the enemies are defeated, the map appears. So I'm going to remove this link. What we're actually going to do is add all of these enemies to a group, and groups trigger links together. So if I click on red, and then I click on each enemy, those enemies now all act as one. So when I link from one of these to the map, that means when all of these enemies are defeated, the map is going to appear. So grouping is a good way to, 1, stop your dungeon from having a million arrows flying everywhere, but 2, also let you trigger things from multiple different sources. So I have all these enemies triggering one thing. That's how I make the map appear. So let's see how that works out. So to recap real quick, we've got our beginning room where we have a small little push puzzle to get a sword from a chest. We have an orb switch that's linked to a closed door. So when we hit the orb switch with our sword, it'll open. And then we've got a room where we group together all these enemies, linked them to a map. We need to defeat the enemies to make the map appear. And then we're going to look at the map and see that there's a secret room here. Push the bookshelf aside and walk inside. Let's do it. So I'm going to push these again. And if you're just playtesting, sometimes what we'll do while we're playtesting our dungeons is just like, I've already tested this room, so I'll just throw the player in the next room and test from there. Kind of saves you from having to do the same thing over and over again. So now you'll see the map isn't there. We're gonna take out these enemies and you'll see the hearts are dropping. But we didn't take damage anyway, so we're good. And there we go. Our map spawned when we defeated all the enemies. And if I look at the map right now, I can see the 2 rooms that I've been in. So if I pick it up. Now I look at the map, I'm going to see, oh, you know what? There's a room above me. That's interesting. Maybe I can move this. Aha! Now we've got into that last room. Pretty cool. Now there's a lot of different items and objects to show off. I want to highlight first the different tools that the player can use. So we already showed off the sword. There's also the frog glove. We showed off the bow and arrow a little bit. So if you pick up the bow, you won't have any arrows, so you need to put some of those down. Give the player some arrows there. Bombs we actually showed off a little bit too. We'll put those down. Frog squad. Everyone in the chat, emoji with the frog. These are the dash boots, which will let you dash over pits. Lincoln with the good frog emoji. The real frog. Frog squad assemble! Mega frog. I'm going to put a pit over here so we can show off the dash boots. And then the lantern we also kind of showed off already, but we'll show that. Hey, Sanjay, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by. I'm going to set up some things here. Let's expand this room out. Corrupted frog, yeah. Frog boss one, yeah. I feel like now it has to happen. Oh no. It's just like Yoshi's Island. The frog eats you and then you've got to fight from inside of it. It's going to be so complex. Alright, so the frog glove, one of my favorite items. When you pick it up, it shoots out its little tongue. Since we're talking about frogs, we'll start there. And you can use the frog glove to pick up other items. So this lantern over here can pull towards me. We'll use it to grab all this stuff. And that works across pits too. Okay, so we've got everything. So these cracked blocks can also be destroyed with bombs. And those boots I just picked up can be used with the spacebar. These are our first upgrade item in the game. So this gives you the ability to dash, as you can see. And if you dash into an enemy, you won't take damage. You'll actually knock it back. You can also dash over pits. So normally I would fall in this pit. If I walk towards it, with the dash boots, I could go right over it. Pretty handy. And then the frog glove can also be used to latch onto these targets. So you can cross areas that are even bigger than one tile. Just like that. And I poorly placed that second statue, so I'm trapped. But I'm actually not trapped because I have dash boots. So. And bow and arrow can be used to trigger things from afar, so this switch over here, trigger with the bow and arrow. So now I've got plenty of tools to take out enemies with. The frog glove also stuns enemies. So you can lick an enemy, throw a bomb down, take them out. And the frog glove also eats smaller enemies. So these bats here, you can slurp them up. Yep. There we go. Delicious. And nutritious. And the lantern we already showed off. You can use it to light torches. One more cool thing with the lantern. Bat. You can use it to defeat the ghost enemy. So I'm going to link this ghost so it only appears once I have the lantern. So the ghost enemy is kind of unique in that it kind of wanders around. He's got his derpy little tongue. And then when you hit him, he gets all mad, starts chasing you, and he's invincible. You can't hurt him. Except if you have the lantern. I'm going to hit him again. If I use the lantern on him, burns him right out. Bat meat is best meat. Yeah, that's what they say. Smork. Did you create the smork? Yee! Hey, Adam, what's going on, man? Thanks for swinging by. Our demo is live, Adam. If you want to build the chromatic castle of your dreams. Brunhilde, another one of our resident dungeon designers, has built a few levels. Gasp. And no dungeon is complete without a boss battle, right? So I want to show off the first boss that we've created. This is the slime boss. I'm going to throw him in this room. And we're going to put down a boss door. Same way as you place other doors like we did earlier. Just place the first door, then the second. But then we also need a key. So I'm going to put the boss key. We'll put it in the ghost. So you got to defeat the ghost to get the boss key. And bosses have their own behavior. They do different things. The slime boss has a big projectile attack that it does. And when you hit it 6 times, it splits into 2. And when you defeat each of those halves, they split into a bunch of slimes also. But linking is kind of unique for slime bosses. So if I want to make kind of a unique boss fight, I could make it so that if you go over to the link mode, if you hover over the boss, you're going to see these icons. And if you hover over each one, it tells you what you're linking from. So if I want, maybe when the slime boss splits in 2, I want to make all these archers appear. I can just do that. So now when it splits, those archers are going to appear. So you could kind of customize your own boss battles. Maybe I want to make it so the arena gets a lot more difficult. For the last phase. So you have these spikes. I'm going to throw those in a group. And I'm going to make it so that when the slime boss splits in 4, all these spikes are going to pop up. Then we'll put a room here. We're going to put the end level tile in here. And you can put as many end level tiles as you want in a dungeon. There's no limit. So if you want to create secret exits, you can totally do that. And then we have a boss defeated token here. I'm going to click on that and click on the door. And now when you defeat the boss, the door is going to open. So let's check it out. The checkpoint is pretty close to a magic crystal. Yeah, it's pretty much a crystal. We grab all this stuff so we have it for the boss. Oh, we gotta kill the ghost to get our boss key. So let's do that real quick. You can actually get 2 hits off on the ghost if you're quick enough before it transforms. There we go. Got our boss key. I'm gonna go open the boss door. And you'll notice the music went quiet. So when you're in a room with a boss that hasn't spawned yet, the music will turn off until you spawn it in. And then you get to hear our wonderful composer, Benny Wolin, his awesome boss soundtrack as soon as we spawn in this boss. And yeah, he's a big boy. He's got the projectile attack. Goes in all directions. And every time you hit the slime boss, it does that attack again, so you want to be careful. Down to 2 hearts now. It's usually good to kind of hit it and then run away. Dash boots help. Three hits. I'm going to start using bow and arrow here. I've only got 5 arrows though, so I got to be careful. Let's do a bomb, because the bomb actually does 2 damage to it. There we go. So we got the first split. So if you remember, on the first split, we said that all these lizards would spawn, so there they are. Let's take them out. And now we've got 2 boss slimes to deal with that are both throwing projectiles at us, and all these lizards. Ah, I'm down to 1 heart. Not great. And that was a cheap shot. You gotta admit that was a cheap shot. Sniper, yeah. We totally got sniped. F's in the chat. And the camera is actually set to expand outwards during a boss battle so that the boss is always on the screen. So you'll notice the camera kind of zooming out a bit. We got the well played from Lincoln. Oops, that's a bomb. So yeah, we tried to make the designer as intuitive as possible. It's all point and click. You can create links and events however you want. And get really creative with how you design your dungeon, how you want it to look, and the different puzzles you want to create. Okay, we got our second split. And once we take care of this other big slime, we're going to have all these spikes come up. There we go. So now we've got a little less room to work with here. But pretty easy to clean these guys up. They don't do much. Look at those no-scope shots. They definitely need bolt action. Yeah, right? Okay, and if you probably heard that. That was the door opening up here because we defeated all the slimes. And we beat the boss. So yeah, GG, thank you, thank you. You can get pretty creative with your room shapes too, as you're designing your rooms here. Slime fireworks, yeah. If we want to make maybe a L-shaped room, all you got to do is delete the wall and then rebuild it. So if you come over to the walls here, you can change the shape of your room however you want. Usually recommend deleting these floor tiles because that'll just appear as empty space when you come in. And as you expand out a room, it's going to keep that shape that you created. So you're not limited to just square rooms. You can make them any shape you want. So there we go. Put the player in there, you can see we've got a funky shaped room. There's a lot to show off. I could spend a lot of time going over what every single item does, but I think it's much more fun to just jump in, check it out. There are tooltips on everything. I'll just real quick go over what a lot of this stuff does. The torches, like we talked about before, you can light with the lantern. You can use them to trigger links. The blocks, they're pushable, or you can just use them to block the player. If you link to them, you can also spawn them in. So you could do something kind of funny where, let's say I've got a room here. I have the player go in. You can put down a floor switch. And we're going to put all these blocks down. Kind of create a maze. And let's say, we threw all these in a group. Linked them from the floor switch. Now, when the player steps on that floor switch, all these blocks are going to appear in the room they were just in. They're going to come out and be like, what the heck? Where you can have a lot of fun is there's custom text in the game. You can put down signs that the player can read. So if I put a sign here and it says, in the next room, you'll spawn blocks. Now when I read that, it's going to say that. But you can also trigger text that's not in the same room. So if I have this sign in a different room and I say, sounds like something happened. Oh, no room. We'll say, hear a loud thump. Poof. Poof's probably better. You hear a loud poof. Okay, and then I can link from this floor switch to that sign also. It's going to make that text appear on the screen in front of me. So let's see what that looks like. When I come in here, you'll see those blocks aren't here. It's because they're going to be triggered by a link. I've got this signpost here. If I hit E, I'm going to see the text that I put on there. In the next room, you'll spawn blocks. Go in the next room. Step on this floor switch. You hear a loud poof. That was the text that we just linked to. If we go back in this room now, all these blocks. What the heck? So kind of just to showcase, you can create custom designs. You can create, take old rooms and make them, totally different than they were before by spawning stuff in and having the player backtrack through them. Lots of cool stuff you can do. You can use the text to kind of create narrative events in the dungeon. But yeah, there's a lot. We've got locked block, which can be unlocked with a yellow key. So kind of to block the player's way, and then you need to use a key to get through it. These triangle blocks reflect arrows. If you link to them, they'll actually rotate. So you can do puzzles where you need to rotate triangle blocks to reflect arrows in a certain way. We showed off already what the frog statue does. That lets you clear across the room and across gaps with the frog glove. If you link to it, you can turn it on and off. We have up and down blocks, which can be triggered with the up and down block switch. These don't require any linking. They're universal across the entire dungeon. If I have a bunch of green up and down blocks here, and I hit the switch way over here while I'm in this room, these are going to go down and turn orange. Well, they don't turn orange, but they're going to get pressed down. And then any of these orange ones are going to get pressed up. So you can create all kinds of puzzles with those as well. These switches can be used to trigger links. You have a few different forms of them. There's a repeat switch and then a regular switch. Regular switch will just activate stuff once. The repeat one will activate stuff back and forth. So if you have a door that you've linked to a repeat switch, when you hit it once, it's going to close the door. You hit it again, it's going to open the door. So you can re-trigger stuff. We also have timer switch, delay switch, just more complex ways that you can create links. The timer switch will trigger a link when you activate it, and then it will untrigger that link after a certain amount of time passes. And then the delay switch won't trigger a link until a certain amount of time passes. So just some ways to create some cool, unique puzzles. The floor switch I just showed off. There's also a repeat version of that. We have the transparent switch, which just activates when you walk through it. The player can't see it when they're playing, so it's completely invisible. Treasure chests can hold items. We showed that already. The spawners can spawn in enemies and items, so kind of like a warp pipe in Mario Brothers, right? Just keep spawning in enemies. You can do that. You can also spawn in items. So maybe you have a dungeon where you don't want the player to run out of bombs or arrows. You can have those spawn in. You can link to them to enable and disable them too. We have tables, which look cool, but you can also break them with your sword and other sources. And you can put items on them. We have the stool, which is one of my favorite objects in the game. You can push it around, and it's not tile dependent. It kind of moves on its own. And you can use it to push down switches. You can grab it with the frog glove. We have more containers, the skull and the pot. These function kind of like treasure chests. You could put items in them, but they get broken with the sword and bow and arrow. All damage sources will break those open. We have the wall trap arrow, which can shoot arrows out of the wall. You can activate and deactivate that. We have spikes that can be triggered. There's also proximity spikes. Staircases to take you from room to room, just like doors. The checkpoint, which we showed earlier. Stepping on one of those will make it so you respawn from there when you die. And warps. Warps work similar to staircases. When you step on one, you warp to the other one. You can activate and deactivate them, and there's also a one-way warp. So you can't warp back. Handful of different enemies. We're going to continue to support the game post-launch and have even more enemies added over time. Yeah, got through all the objects. Phew! I won't go through all the enemies, but you can hover over them to kind of see some of their behaviors. We've already kind of showed off quite a few of them. I do like the Warthog. If you walk in front of him, he charges at you. And you can even break things that can be broken with a bomb. Items we've kind of shown off for the most part. The monocular is sort of like a compass in Zelda. It shows you where all the chests are in rooms, as well as some other information. Extra lives, gold. Gold is going to be used for a in-level shopkeep that'll sell you items. We don't have him in yet. We're working on him. So right now, gold is just a collectible that kind of acts like a high score for you. But one thing I do want to show before we get into too much else is how the multiplayer works, because this game does have up to 4-player local co-op. So if you click on this little bag icon here, you go to the starting equipment menu, and this is where you can define what the player starts with. So if we want to give them more hearts to start with, we can do that. If we want to just give them items and equipment that they start with, you can do that here too. You can give them some arrows, some keys, whatever you want. But this is also where you add more players. So if you click on the player icon here, you'll see player 2 popped up here. You can go up to 4 players. And each one you can give a different inventory, starting health. And then you get to decide if you want them to have a shared inventory or if each player gets their own inventory. So what that means is if I have a shared inventory, then that means if player 1 picks up a sword, everyone has a sword now. If I uncheck this, then that means if player 1 picks up a sword, only player 1 has access to the sword. If player 2 picks up a bow and arrow, no one else has it. So you could create some interesting situations where maybe you've got, player 1 in this room. You've got player 2 way down here at the bottom of the dungeon. Let's put their starting location here, because you can separate those out. And then player 2's got to solve a bunch of puzzles using the bow and arrow to help player 1 progress through their part of the dungeon. You can do kind of unique little co-op unique puzzles that way. But let's just show off real quick what that looks like. If we hit play, you can see it goes to split screen. And you'll see player 2 is off in their own room over here. Meanwhile, player 1's back up here. Yeah, so you can work together to get through. And you can decide in the settings, you can decide if you want to force split screen or not. So what that means, like right now you see split screen because one of the players is outside of the room. But if all the players are in the same room, the split screen will go away. So if I've got all 4 players here, there's no split screen. And we give the option to make it so that you force split screen, because if a player leaves the room, it's a little jarring to suddenly go into split screen. So you can decide if you want the split screen to stay or not. Or sabotage each other. Yeah, totally. That's the fun of multiplayer, right? Okay, so once you've built a dungeon, how do you upload it? Well, first of all, you should save your dungeon. So click on the book here, options, and click save. Give it a nice name. This is an example dungeon. And you can give a little description. So in this dungeon, we show off some features of the game. And then just click save. That's going to save the game locally for you. Remember to save often so you don't lose progress. And if we click upload, we're going to get a screen that says dungeon is being uploaded. Please wait. And then upload success. So now anybody playing the demo right now, if you go into browse dungeons, you'll see my dungeon. You can download it. You can check it out. So if I leave here and go return to main menu. Now sometimes it takes a minute for the dungeon to upload. Always nice when it works live. Yeah, no kidding. If I click on browse dungeons, there it is. This is an example dungeon. What's up there? Don't download this dungeon. It's awful. But that's how it works. So yeah, that's kind of the very bare bones basics of the game. Obviously, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot of cool ways that you can customize your dungeons. Show off a good example of a more complex dungeon here. Well, here's a... let me go back to my dungeons. I like to show off the never-ending dungeon. This is a dungeon that I've been working on stream. And I add a new room every stream. And you can see if we zoom out here, we've got a lot of rooms. We've got a lot of stuff going on. You can kind of make dungeons as big as you want. There is a limit, but it's pretty generous right now. We probably will end up imposing some kind of limit at some point, but right now it's pretty generous. You can make dungeons pretty big. Add to them whenever you want. Oh, that's another thing that I forgot to mention. You can change the color palette of this stone dungeon. We are going to have other themes in the future. Right now we just have this castle theme, but there will be more. You know, we're going to have like a forest theme. There's going to be like an ice theme, that kind of thing, down the road. That'll be stuff we're going to work on during early access, even post-launch, getting more themes in the game, which are going to come with more tiles. They're going to come with more enemies, lots of extra content down the road. But you can change the color of these tiles. So down here in the bottom right, which you can't see because my big head is in the way. There we go. You have these color palettes. If you click on these, it'll change the color of the tiles. And if you click on one of these, like let's say yellow, and you click add in your room, it's going to create the room in that color. So you can have a default color of a room, but then you can also combine it however you want. If you want weird yellow coming through your blue room, I'm not going to judge you. Do whatever you want. No one here is going to judge you. You make your dungeon how you want. I will. Okay, Thomas will judge you a little bit, but I won't judge you at all. Okay, Matt. Okay, Matt might judge you a little bit. I'm not going to judge you when you make your dungeon. We're very judgy over here. And so troll maps were born. Yeah. I'm actually excited for more troll dungeons. I challenge someone to make an excellent troll dungeon. That's fun. During the Steam Next Fest. I think troll dungeons can be a lot of fun when they're made well. Oh yeah, to delete rooms, click this delete rooms button in the UI. Get rid of a room. that you don't want. What else? There's so much we could touch on. Decor is kind of intended to be like things that decorate your dungeon, but a lot of these are interactable. So like these statues, the colored in versions can be pushed, and you can link to them to turn them on and off. Speaking of troll dungeons, play Trash Revision 2 if it's up there. Okay, I'll check it out. We'll check that out right now. I love the new title screen. Every time I go back to it, I'm blown away. We've been staring at the same title screen for like 5 years, so this is a big deal. It's so good. You guys both did an awesome job getting that in. It's so good. Trash Revision 2. I think the icon is a trash can. Oh, go on. There we go. Trash Revision 2. Oh, it already downloaded. Oh yes, that's another thing worth noting. If you upload a dungeon and then you want to add more to it, you can add more to it. When you go to upload it again, it's going to overwrite the dungeon you already have up here. It's not going to create a second one. So be aware of that. It will replace the dungeon you already have uploaded. So you won't have 500 different phantom mesas up here. It's going to keep adding to that same one. Which is handy, right? If you want to update your dungeon, change it, you can do that. So, and when you go into Browse Dungeons, you'll actually see a little blue pop-up here. If a new dungeon has been updated, it'll pop up and tell you dungeon's been automatically updated and downloaded. So it does it automatically. Yeah, next time someone goes into the mod browser, they'll download the newest version. Yeah, it happens as soon as you go into the mod browser. All right, let's check out a revised trash level by Thomas. Oh, it's 2-player. Oh God, what? No. Oh, okay, I see. You're gonna make me hit all of these into the pit with the frog glove. Okay, I'm leaving player 2 there to keep hitting them, to keep them over here. Yeah, this is a pretty awful level. Timmy, is that you? There's a common theme among Mario Maker. They call them Little Timmy levels. It's where there's just a bunch of like crap everywhere. Yay, I did it. That was a good dungeon. I felt like I was playing Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That was just like a Link to the Past dungeon. It's beautiful. No, that was a fun troll. I like that. Makes me think of a ball pit. Yeah, basically. Oh, also worth noting, we do support Steam Remote Play Together. So we have the local co-op in the game. If you have friends that want to play, you can go on Steam Remote Play Together and play with people that aren't actually next to you. Your goal is to top that. We're setting the bar low. We believe. But yeah, we're really fortunate that there's already a handful of great dungeons that you can go check out if you want to play some dungeons. Thanks to all the help from our many playtests that we've run. There's a lot of cool dungeons. Yeah, the future is exciting for the game. There's a lot of, a lot more game modes we're going to add. There's a lot more content. We're just going to continue to support this game and try to build up the community as best as we can. We are coming to Kickstarter soon. We have the Kickstarter page up. Let me share it in the chat. Kickstarter page is up. You can get notified right now. Kickstarter is going to run in August to coincide. We're going to try and time the last week to go with PAX West, which we'll be at. We'll have a booth there. So, lots to look forward to. What else? Can show off some of these other cool looking dungeons. I do want to show real quick how cool the map looks when you pick up the map and the monocular. So let's go into a dungeon that shows that really good. Chemical Factory is probably a good one. So if we go to the... And this one's crazy. This dungeon is awesome. One of our frequent playtest players made this dungeon. It's got all kinds of links all over the place. It's crazy good. So many links. So I'm just going to throw the map and the monocular down here. So when you have both and you look at the map, everything's going to be revealed. So any rooms I haven't been in are going to show up as dark. But if you zoom out, you can see the full dungeon. And again, if you want to see the key, you can click here. This shows you what everything is. So I've got poison is the pink. Gray are spikes. And then I could see where any treasure chests are. So pretty helpful. If you hit the camera icon, that'll go back to player one. So yeah. Yeah, and as always, we're always open to feedback. So, and not only are we open to feedback, we would love feedback. We've had a lot of great feedback, and that has helped shape the game into what it is today. So we take feedback seriously. It helps us make the game better. Kickable bombs. Yeah, we that's in the roadmap. We had throwable bombs. But we actually were just talking about that. Some way to maybe not force ourselves to have to do like a throw animation. Maybe a kick or something would work better. So that's definitely a good suggestion. RC car bomb. Ooh, that'd be cool. That's like a what do you call it? What's the mouse bomb called? It's the I don't know, like the mouse bomb from Ocarina of Time. Bomb chew. It's like a bomb chew. Yeah. yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential and a lot of fun new modes and new things that are going to be coming to the game over time. Here's the warthog, charges at you. Pro tip for this level, don't miss the boots. Yeah, boots are helpful. Okay, but I think we're gonna call it there. I got to show off kind of some of the features of the demo, give you kind of a high-level overview of how the game works. So this demo was supposed to be just for Steam Next Fest. It was supposed to be the 19th through the 26th, but we had to get the demo out early so that press had access to it, which was today. So the demo's live, and we're just going to keep it up. It's going to be there through the 26th. So if you want to make some awesome dungeons, you've got some extended time to do that. So get in there, make some awesome dungeons, and we stream usually on Fridays. So every Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, throughout this demo period, we'll be playing any dungeons that get uploaded. So not tomorrow, but the Friday after, I'll be online playing through any dungeons that have been uploaded so far. And then we're going to do a couple special playtests during actual Steam Next Fest, which is between the 19th and 26th. So keep an eye out for those too. But yeah, again, Kickstarter page is up. If you want to get notified, it does help us a lot if you get notified, because it helps the algorithm for Kickstarter to display our project in more places. So please help us out there. Steam page is down below where you can wishlist the game and also download the demo. We do our weekly dev streams every Friday, 8:30 p.m. And if you want to join the Discord, we have a Discord link down below. The Discord channel is kind of where we're trying to build the community. It's where we discuss features and kind of any kind of chat about the game, especially during the demos. People can say, hey, I put up a new level, go check it out, that kind of thing. So really appreciate everyone swinging by today. This was a great stream. I think I saw like 11 viewers at one point, so that might be an all-time high, so that's cool. Yeah, thanks all. All right, frog emojis. Everyone spam a frog emoji as we play it out with the trailer. Which we are actively working on a new trailer, by the way, so we'll have that out hopefully in the next few weeks here. So, all right, frogs in chat. I love it. All the frogs. Awesome. All right, thanks all. I will see everyone next Friday. And if you're in the Discord, I'll see you there too. Thanks all.